Packed hour for you 6 p.m. drivers.
Would I rather be feared or loved? Easy, both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me.
Matt Skraby wraps up a full day of live and local sports talk.
And that is the whole problem with aliens. You just can't trust them. Occasionally you meet a nice one, but usually they turn out to be some kind of big lizard.
The Skraby Show starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Hello and welcome into the Skraby Show for August 13th, 2025. And we have a lot of really, really good stuff to talk about tonight. And we will talk about that good stuff throughout the next hour or so. If you want to watch the show, you can just go to YouTube, search 97.3 The Fan. You can also go to my Skraby Show YouTube at The Skraby Show. The SKRAB as in boy Y show. It's really easy at the Skraby Show if you want to join that one. We're also on Facebook, 97.3 The Fan, Twitter, Matt Skraby, but I retweeted it from 97.3 The Fan SD. If you're not following the 97.3 The Fan YouTube, you are missing out. So make sure you go and subscribe to that. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if I can get a shameless plug in there. And you will get everything that you need, at least from the 97.3 The Fan YouTube. There's so much stuff. All of the shows that are broadcast throughout the day show up there, and lots of stuff that Sam Levitt does down at the ballpark. He puts that up on YouTube as well, so it's a one-stop Padres shop. And I got to tell you, the Padres winning definitely puts us into it definitely puts the building, I should say, into a really, really great mood, because this is the fun part of the season for everyone. When the Padres are winning and they're in first place right now in the National League West on August 13th, this is like what everybody wants to have happen. And I just want to bask in this right now. And I know that if they, knock on wood, take a turn or whatever, I think that we have to be very, grateful for how well the Padres are playing in this second half, how well the Padres played in last year's second half. The trades, you never know what's going to happen with the trade. You never know what's going to happen with players that are coming to the organization. You don't know if they're going to pick up where they left off or if they're going to struggle a little bit in their new location. And so far, the trades, again, knock on wood, so far the trades have worked out great. I mean, the pitching part of the trade works out great. Obviously, Ramon Laureano works out great. He had a home run today. If you're just getting in the car, the Padres beat the Giants 11-1. Ramon Laureano went 3 for 4, 2 RBIs, a homer. Jake Cronenworth today went 2 for 3, 2 RBIs. Fernando Tatis Jr. went 2 for 3, 3 RBIs today. Luis Arraez also got an RBI. He went 1 for 4. Jackson Merrill went 1 for 5. And I wanted to go look at Jackson Merrill's stats, because it feels like to me that Jackson Merrill is getting better, and he's kind of sort of slowly falling out of that slump that he was in, or the rut that he was in. But in the month of August, Jackson Merrill seems to be more Jackson Merrill-like. He's hitting 283. He has an OPS of 855. He's got 2 home runs, 10 RBIs in that time. So Jackson Merrill is starting to hit again. He had 4 games without a hit, but since Monday, he's had a hit in every game. And so out of like maybe, let's see, how many games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 games he's hitting 8 of those 12 games. So that's a pretty good thing. And I'll take that Jackson Merrill for sure. I will take it. I haven't even talked about Nick Pivetta yet. Nick Pivetta goes out there, gets the win. He's 12-4 on the year, 6 2/3, 4 hits, just gave up 1 run, struck out 5, also only walked 1 as well. His ERA on the season is 2.87. And I know that why did I forget his name? Zach Wheeler. I know that Zach Wheeler, has been pitching well, but Nick Pivetta has to be putting his name into the Cy Young conversation. I don't see how he can't be in the Cy Young conversation. I think that Nick Pivetta has pitched the best year of his career so far, and I think that Nick Pivetta deserves to be in the Cy Young conversation or down the stretch. And he's doing exactly what the Padres brought him in here for. And the unique contract that AJ Preller gave Nick Pivetta is the reason that this is happening right now, because Nick Pivetta is basically pitching for very, very, very little money. He has some stat escalators and things like that, but he signed to be on this team because he wanted to be on this team. He knew there was something special here, and there is something special here. Manny Machado hit his 30th double of the year. So runners in scoring position, the team was 6 for 11 today. I can't really find any sort of area to nitpick today. I can't. It's just not going to happen with the game that we saw today. Last night, also, great game for the Padres. You have Jose Iglesias taking Robbie Ray deep early. That's huge. So it's right now working to plan, if not more according to plan than anybody I think could have expected for the Padres. And we'll go on a little bit with the team. We'll talk about the Padres as we go along. But I am seeing some major stuff happening on the TV. The Cubs and the Blue Jays. I can't tell who the player is, but they are carrying him off to the cart now. He was running and he stepped on first base and he kind of did that, straight leg thing where you step on the base and then you hyperextend your leg a little bit. And he looks like he's in a ton of pain. They didn't put like a splint on it or anything like that. And oh man, he's crying. He's definitely feeling it right now. I'm not sure what exactly happened, but it doesn't look good. And I feel bad for him because that is unfortunate. It was kind of a non-contact thing, just stepped on the base and hurt his leg. Things are not going well. It's a Miguel Amaya. Oh, someone's saying he hit his head on the ground. I don't know. I got to figure this out. But Miguel Amaya is the player for the Cubs. But the things have not gone well for the Cubs as of late. PCA has fallen off, and he was a great story for most of the year, but he is not going to be named the MVP this year, outside of an incredible finish for the last 5 weeks of the season. But the Cubs, it's very strange. The Cubs started this year, for a long time, they were considered like, hey, this is a World Series looking team. And the Cubs right now are 4-6 in their last 10. They still have a great record. They're 67-51 on the year, but they are now 8 games behind the Brewers. So I think the NL Central is trying to be what the NL West was supposed to be like. Everybody told us that the NL West was just going to be a runaway from the Dodgers, but that's not the truth. The truth is that the Padres have a half-game lead over the Dodgers. They are going to be playing the Angels tonight at 6:38 p.m. So if anything happens there, we are going to tell you about it. But everybody looks very somber in the Cubs dugout. So I think maybe he hit his head. It looked like it was just an awkward play. I'm not really sure what happened, but never wanted to see something like that happen. I am not comparing myself to Miguel Amaya or anything like that, but I'm going to stop talking about baseball for a second. I'm going to tell everybody about the harrowing experience I had earlier today. So everybody knows I have my dog Lucky. He's a golden retriever husky, basically half and half. He's more golden retriever than he is husky, but when he wants to be, he can be a husky, and so he makes a lot of noise when he does his husky thing. But when he's his golden retriever self, he's just cute and fluffy, and he jumps around, and he just has a lot of fun. But today, before I came to work, you're not going to be able to see it because I had to do some surgery on my nose a little bit. I like to wrestle Lucky. He's 90 pounds, so he's a big dude. And sometimes he gets the better of me because he is 90 pounds, but sometimes he does this thing where he like rears back like he's a horse, and then he comes down with his paws and like gets me. And so this time though, he came down with his paws and he clocked me with one of his paws. And he has this it's called a dew claw, I think, where it's on the side of their foot, like near their ankle, and it is sharp, and his dew claw scraped up my nose to the point where I was bleeding, thinking I broke my nose. But Lucky got me good today. So if you have a dog and it's a big dog and you know what this is like, you know the pain that I was in earlier today. He got me so good. Now, it's not his fault or anything. And then I feel bad because after I'm like, oh, Lucky, kind of like that with my hands covering my face, he feels bad. But it was a harrowing experience, I have to say. I did not realize I was going to have that much of a it was going to affect me that much, but man, did he get me good. Man, did he get me good. I think when we come back, we need to talk about Mike Schilt and his second half magic because it's a thing. It happens all the time. Mike Schilt's second halves are really, really good under the teams that he manages. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we will talk more Padres after that when we get back here on the Skraby Show, 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, it's Ben Higgins.
That's what we're playing for. This is a quote. That's what we're playing for. Now we've got to take a lead in first place and stay consistent. And this is the team to do it. It's now a matter of fact. It's in our hands as how much we want it. Quote from Kevin Acey's story in the San Diego Union Tribune. That was Fernando Tatis Jr. talking about the Padres. He basically said they control their own destiny from here on out. They have done the hardest part, which is digging themselves out of a 9-game hole that they were in with the Dodgers on July 4th, as Chris said earlier. They've done that hard part. Now they can control how the rest of this season goes. And I like that. I like being in the driver's seat. I really do. It's way better than being the team that's chasing. And it's, I mean, it depends on which type of team that's chasing. But this Padres team, I think, is built to be a team that's hunted. They are supremely confident right now. Everything seems to be working for them right now. And things are going their way right now. This team is built for this. This is what we've all been waiting for. It was funny. I was driving back home last night and I was thinking, last year's team, I felt the same way. I said, this team has magic. This team has, it's built for this. But this year, this team is even better than last year's team. So there are no stones unturned on this roster. AJ Preller went out and made every single change that they needed to make, and things are working out. So I think we have to give AJ another big round of applause, because right now the Padres are in the position that they're in because AJ Preller supported the team and made deals and got trades and made trades and brought the right pieces here to San Diego. So this team is scary. This team has that killer instinct. I love what this team is putting together here. And Ramon Laureano, top Ramon, as Chris would say, he has been amazing for the Padres. And if you're going to get hot during a season, get hot at the end of the season. I know we're still 6 weeks to go or something like that. But if you're playing good baseball, it's easy. Well, it's not easy. I shouldn't say it's easy. But if you're playing good baseball, it makes coming to work every single day a little bit more fun for those guys. So it helps them stay loose, helps them to play loose, all of the above. Rod says it's our year for our faithful. I don't disagree with that. Don't disagree with that. Mike Schilt, the manager of the Padres, is a big reason for this as well. And we've talked about it before, but I never actually looked into the numbers. What is his record in the second half of seasons? And his knack for being able to find another gear after the All-Star break is apparent, and it's proven at this point. In 2019, his first full season as the Cardinals manager, Mike Schilt went 44-44 in the first half. They went 47-27 in the second half. 47-27. There were 20 games over 500 in the second half of 2019. So that's a huge improvement. 2020, kind of a weird year, obviously, with the COVID and all that, but they went 30-28. They came here, Padres eliminated them in the playoffs. We have to kind of throw out the 2020 year. Now in 2021, the Cardinals entered the All-Star break 44-46. They exited the season after the All-Star break. They were 46-26. Another 20 games over 500 difference from the first half to the second half. Well, not from the first half to the second half, but 20 games over 500 in the second half. Now you have to go to 2024. Last year, he took those 2 years off from managing. 2024 with the Padres, they were 50-49 in the first half. They were 43-20 in the second half. This is a thing. Like, if it just doesn't happen this way every single time that Mike Schilt manages a team, they have a second half that's better than their first half. And you know what? I will take it. I will take some early losses in the season if I feel like the team is going to win in the second half, which is exactly what they're doing. So maybe next season we need to come into it with a different feeling. Like, okay, first half's whatever, but second half is where it really gets going for the Padres. I mean, this season so far, 52-44 in the first half. In the second half, they're already 16-8. So they're already double the wins so far in the second half, which is awesome. And of course, it's going to sound like I'm being overly positive and rosy and all that stuff, but why not? This team is fun. This team is good. This team seems to have all the pieces. And when I say that I think that this team could make a run to the World Series, I'm not joking. And I think a lot of us feel that way. Now, obviously, I will back myself up a little bit and I will say, hey, they still have to win games the rest of the regular season, which is true. They still have to win games in the postseason, which is true. But if we're going to take what we've been seeing over the last 3 weeks since the All-Star break, we're going to take that and we're going to apply it to the rest of the season in the playoffs. I don't think why we can't be excited. I don't think there's a reason why we can't be excited. This is exciting. Actually, it's probably, Ben Higgins probably just wants to sit there nicely, taking a shot at Ben. I'm going to see him on the round table tomorrow, but I heard that the whole thing with AJ Preller and Ben needed to be calm about everything because they haven't played the games yet. And I know what Ben's saying and feeling when he feels that way, because you don't want to be the guy on the radio who's cheering from the rooftops about how great the team is and then the team does bad. But the trade deadline came and went. The Padres got a lot better. And I think there's some sort of confidence that I can feel like this team is going to head to the playoffs. Clay in the South Bay says, no such thing as over positive. I like that. Legend Girly says, as Merrill says, this is one of my favorite quotes from him. We don't feel pressure. We apply it. Love that. Let's see. What else do we got going on here? Just trying to go through the chat. KG said this team is far scarier than last year's team. Lenny says, watching the stream at a restaurant on my phone. Okay, never mind. I didn't read that whole thing. I'm going to move on quickly from that. Baja's number one Padre fan says, we are finally solid 1 through 9. Yes. And the bench is good too. Yes. Last year, who was on the bench last year? Donovan Solano and David Peralta. This year, the bench has Gavin Sheets, has Jose Iglesias if you want, and you got Bryce Johnson as well. You got Ryan O'Hearn you can kind of throw in there. And you have your left fielder for next year, too, with Ramon Laureano. So I don't know how I can't be positive and cheery about this whole thing. It's too good right now. They've won 5 in a row. Now they head into LA, and they got to take care of business. It's got to happen. I don't want to feel like this today and tomorrow, and then on Friday feel like, what was the point of all that excitement? Because I do feel that way sometimes. They're 2-5 against the Dodgers this year so far. 2-5. And that is not good. And if they are able to take 4 of the next 6 games, I'm not going to get greedy and say 5 of the next 6 games against the Dodgers. But if they could take 4 of the next 6 games from the Dodgers, then that's gonna. I don't even care if they end up with a losing record or a 500 record against the Dodgers. They have to take care of business here in the next couple of weeks. If I'm gonna be serious and not cheery about anything, it's the fact that they still have to win these games. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens with them over the weekend. Legend Gurley again with another great point. Lifelong Padres fans have PTSD from getting too high hopes. I know. I get it. Elizabeth says, so we're due for wins. We've got this. Yes, the Padres have done many of the. The Padres have had many, many, many times where they were on the wrong side of things. So they definitely deserve to be on the right side of things. KG, it's okay, Skraby. I'll be greedy and say I want a double sweep. Hey, I'll take a double sweep too. I'm not going to be against a double sweep. All right. Let's see. Cubs are winning 4-1 in Toronto. The Angels and the Dodgers have not started yet. There's Mariners and the Orioles 0-0. Mariners are another team very, very, very good since the trade deadline. I think they've only lost one game coming into today. So that's good. I mean, wouldn't that be crazy to get a Vetter Cup World Series? I know we don't really care about the Vetter Cup, but I think it would be awesome if they could do it in a World Series game. So let's make that happen, Padres and Mariners. Let's make it happen. When we get back, we're going to kind of go all over the place because I have a bunch of different stories that I want to talk about. They were actually, before I realized I was doing this hour by myself, they were actually all Big Five stories. So we'll talk about those when we get back. We still have a daily gripe. But if you're a Twins fan, I feel for you, Twins fans. I feel for you. We'll talk about what the Twins did today and their ownership when we get back here at 97.3 The Fan on the Skraby Show.
Ben and Woods. Listen on demand to the full show or hour-by-hour breakdowns from 97.3 The Fan.
Last segment of the Skraby Show for tonight. We have another one tomorrow night from 6 to 7 p.m. We have the Roundtable replay from 5 to 6 p.m. And we have a show from 2 to 5 p.m. tomorrow. So you will get another Skraby Show tomorrow night. Coming up in this final segment, we're going to go through the 6 things that we learned about Taylor Swift on Travis Kelce's podcast. Just kidding. We are not going to be doing that, but that is a push notification that I just got. I'm gonna, check it out a little bit. So, not gonna listen to the podcast, but I might look and see what she said. I don't know what's going on with Travis Kelce these days. He says that he's gonna be back, but last year did not show me that. Speaking of fantasy football, I guess I have made the decision to cut down the number of fantasy leagues that I'm in for football. Last year I did 4 plus a Survivor League, which I got eliminated in the first week, so it didn't really matter about the Survivor League. But I had 4 leagues. I had a family league. I have a friends league. I had I forgot about this one. It was like the Padres PR League, which I don't think is happening again, which is not the worst thing in the world because I was so terrible last year. And then I have this Odyssey League. So if you've heard us complaining about Tony not setting the draft date, then that is for the Odyssey League. But I have cut down the number of leagues. I think I'm only going to be in 2 leagues this year, because it just became too much. I was able to manage 3 for a while, and I hear people always say, well, what if you have players that are hurting you and scoring for you, and how do you cheer for that? Here's how I cheered for it. I would put my leagues in order of importance. So if someone was scoring a bunch against me, but I had them in the 3rd league, it wouldn't really matter to me too much, or vice versa, the other way around. If I had someone scoring a lot and it was in, you get what I'm saying. So I was just not able to do the 4 leagues. That was a lot. And I was literally cheering for everyone. But then I tiered it. I actually made it to the championship game in my friends league last year. Somehow, some way. My team was not good, but it failed its way up. Ended up losing, but hey, I'll take it. Here's what might get me back in. And it is something that I saw. Yahoo sent me an email the other day, and it said, have you heard of our guillotine style league? And I said, no, I have not heard of your guillotine style league. I know of different leagues, like Best Ball is a different league you could do. I'm not exactly sure what Best Ball is. I think you draft one team and it goes through this. I don't know. I do know about the guillotine league, though. The guillotine league sounds kind of fun, I gotta say. Here's from Yahoo Sports. Guillotine-style leagues offer a different approach from most fantasy leagues by removing the head-to-head matchups and replacing them with a weekly battle royale between all managers where the team with the lowest total score for that week is eliminated. To make things even more interesting, the entire roster of players from the team that gets knocked out goes to the waiver wire where everyone will have a chance to bid on them. I think this is kind of fun sounding. Like, I may have to do this because the process goes, you don't even have to do a full year. The process goes until one team is left standing. But I think this is a decent idea from Yahoo. That is really interesting to me, to have all of that team's players go back onto the waiver wire and have everyone bid on them, because, like, if you're if you need a certain position and you really need that position and someone gets eliminated and say they have Jamar Chase, you could bid on Jamar Chase and just pick him up in the middle of the year. That's kind of fun. Actually. I think I might look into this, but I wanted to talk about the guillotine style league because that is something that I had not heard about. But anything with like mid-season elimination, I think is kind of fun because it puts extra pressure on everybody. So there we go with the fantasy football. Now, here's some, and we will talk about the Twins here in just a second, but we were talking about Jerry Jones earlier and how he revealed that he has battled melanoma over the last 10 years. Stage 4, an experimental drug actually helped him to beat cancer. And don't listen to Chris. I did not say that I was thinking he's a liar or anything like that. But here's what I don't know that Jerry Jones wants out there. Because Sportico does these NFL team valuations every single year. And the Cowboys, this is shocking to me. The Cowboys have not been a team outside of, maybe a couple years where they went deep in the playoffs or at least went to the playoffs and gave their fans something to cheer about. The Cowboys have not been one of the better teams in the NFL. And so this is why it surprises me. They are once again the number one most valuable team in the NFL. And they have a record valuation of $12.8 billion. Now, some of this is coming from the new deals that are being made with the NFL, TV deals, sponsorship deals, things like that. So that's why it could go up. But it's a 24% increase from last year. A 24% increase from last year, which is really insane because you would think in a world where people are struggling to make ends meet with their finances, and I'm not putting ourselves in Jerry Jones's situation, but how does a business, when business isn't making money right now, when we're kind of in a little recession, I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that, but how does a business like the Cowboys go up 24%? That is insane. $12.8 billion, a 24% increase. Some of the other teams, and by the way, real quick, Jerry Jones bought the Cowboys in 1989 for $140 million. So the new valuation of $12.8 billion comes a year, or the new valuation represents a 9,043% increase from the original price that Jerry bought the team at, which is kind of insane, I have to say. Some of the other teams, the Rams are now over $10 billion. The Giants are over $10 billion. But as a whole, the NFL skyrocketed. Like, these numbers honestly make me want to do this because they're that crazy. The NFL as a whole was up an average of $7.13 billion, which is up 20% from a year ago. Meanwhile, in the NBA, the average NBA team was valued at $4.6 billion, and the average Major League Baseball team is $2.82 billion, and an NHL team is $1.79 billion. So an average franchise valuation in the NFL, $7.13 billion. The poor Bengals are at the bottom, the league's least valuable team, $5.5 billion, which I don't understand. I used to live in Cincinnati. People love their team in Cincinnati, so I'm not really sure why the Bengals are the worst. They went to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, but they are not the best team. Let's see. Where are my 49ers at? Where are my 49ers at? Ooh, wow. They're number 5, $8.6 billion. The Dolphins, $8.25 billion. I got to do the Chargers. They're 21st, $6.21 billion. So moving from San Diego kept them still in the bottom third of the NFL in valuations. Speaking of owners and valuations and things of that nature, the Twins. I said a couple weeks ago, I think it was on the trade deadline night. It was, if you want to feel bad for a fan base, feel bad for the Twins, because the Twins At the trade deadline, they sold off a ton of their players. They sold off Carlos Correa. Ty France went elsewhere. I know that there's other guys that I'm missing. There are some pitchers that went elsewhere, but I really think that the Twins ownership did the fans dirty. And you all know that I don't like when rich people lie to us. And this is, in my opinion, a case of rich people lying to us, because the Pohlad family is the family that owns the Twins, and they shedded all that payroll. Some think to entice a buyer for the franchise so that they don't have a bunch of payroll debt that they're already assuming when they purchased the franchise. But the Pohlad family said, they put out a statement today, and they said they are going to actually keep the team because, quote, it has become a part of our family story, end quote. What happened when you put the team up for sale like earlier this year? Ultimately, here's what I think happened with this whole Twins thing. I think the Twins ownership, the Pohlad family, I think they thought they were going to get a certain number for their team. I think that they were like, hey, we're going to put the team up for sale. We're going to get some billions of dollars and we can move on with things. That is not what happened. They ended up getting bids probably. This is all speculative in my opinion, but they ended up getting bids that were lower than what they wanted. And so they didn't want to sell the team for a price that they didn't want to come down to. And so that is why it has become a part of their family story. Their family story is intertwined with the Minnesota Twins because they couldn't make enough money off of it. They ended up ultimately to add 2 significant limited partnership groups, and the family is still going to remain as the principal owner. It's crazy, this statement, but here's what angers me about it. The statement ends with this: we see and hear the passion from our partners, the community, and Twins fans. That passion inspires us. This ownership group is committed to building a winning team and culture for this region, one that Twins fans are proud to cheer for. What happened when you put the team for sale? Like, where did that all go? Now all of a sudden it inspires you? And now you want to build a winning team? You just got rid of all your players. It makes no sense to me. And to a certain extent, it really bothers me that these families, and I know I'm going down a slippery slope because I'd rather have a family on the team than a bunch of, equity groups own a team. But sometimes your fandom is tied into how much a person wants to make money. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. At all. But this is what it is. And I feel bad for Twins fans because it was a fire sale at the trade deadline. The Correa move, he went back to Houston. That was the biggest one. And this is so apparent to me that it's kind of funny, to be honest with you. It is kind of funny to me, I think, because makes no sense. Makes no sense to me whatsoever. Just run the team, put a winner on the field. Stop playing through everybody and their emotions. That's exactly what is happening. All right, now that I got that out of the way, I feel like I complained and did the daily gripe already. Rod says the Giants made some confusing moves too. So over the weekend when I was talking to all my fantasy football friends, we talked a lot about the Giants. And the Giants, I don't think they made weird moves because the writing was kind of on the wall. They weren't going to catch the Dodgers. They weren't going to catch the Padres. So why not kind of invest in the future while you still have some guys? The fan base, I think, for the most part, took it as well as it could be because they love Buster Posey up there. They love Buster Posey. Chance is saying something about Skraby, you don't like the Seidler family because Padres ownership is a family that owns an equity group. I didn't say I didn't like the families. I said that I'd rather have a family own it than an equity group. And in this case, the family is making decisions. In other cases, there are people that buy into the equity group, like oh gosh, I don't want to say the team name because I'm not exactly sure it's that, but I do know the story is that if you bring in an equity group, those people just want to make money. And so sometimes you have to make decisions to appease your shareholders rather than to make a winning team. So when I was talking about equity group, I'm talking about when there's just a bunch of people putting in money, buying something, and there's no real point. There's no real person to be like, hey, you're the one who's making the decisions. Here in town, we know it's John Seidler. So that is not me backpedaling. That is me explaining a little bit more about what I meant. Because obviously the Seidler family has put money into this team. I can't say that about the Padres. I could say that about other teams. I could say that about the John Fishers of the world, the Dick Monforts of the world. They don't really care. Those are the families that I'm talking about holding their teams hostage. You're all good, Chance. You're all good. It was a good point. It was a good point because I didn't explain fully what I meant. Dominic is in San Diego. I love it. Thanks for checking in on the chat, man. Listening to Skraby Chronicles while driving around in San Diego is different for me, and here I am. Love it. I'm glad you got here safely. All right. Dodgers are up 3-0 right now over the Angels in the top of the first. I believe Will Smith hit a home run to put them on top. So they're up 3-0. The Padres have a half game lead over the Dodgers right now. So if the Dodgers lose this game, the Padres will have a full game lead going into their showdown on Friday. But I can't think of a better situation for Friday's game. The division on the line. You have your season in your hands. This is like a movie. This is what movies are all about.
What's annoying Skraby today? Let's find out. It's time for the Daily Gripe.
Just got a text from the boss man, Adam Klug. And he says, or he sent me a tweet. Russ Dorsey, who we've had on the show many times, he thinks the Padres have the edge over the Dodgers now. His quote on MLB Network, this year, if we go to another 5-game series, I think the Padres have them. I do too, but I also thought that last year. And look what happened in the final 2 games. But there is a compelling case for the Padres to, on paper at least, be the better team than the Dodgers at the moment because of how complete that lineup is. All right. Daily Gripe. My daily gripe is more of one that, it's a fantasy baseball gripe. And I'm not going to reveal who I've been talking to about this. But the gripe is about Luis Ariz. And the gripe is about fantasy baseball Luis Ariz. Not the real Luis Ariz, but the fantasy baseball Luis Ariz. And this person was really angry that Luis Ariz keeps stealing stolen bases from Fernando. Fernando steals a base, Luis Ariz swings at a ball or something like that and fouls it off. So they don't get their stolen base. It's kind of a good point, gotta say. In the fantasy baseball realm, Luis Ariz is a Fernando Tatis Jr. vulture. In football, they call the guys who score the touchdowns, who come into the game for one play and then they score a touchdown, they call them fantasy vultures. Luis Ariz is a fantasy baseball vulture, stealing all of the good stuff from Fernando Tatis Jr. All right, that's it for me. It's Skraby Show. Back tomorrow. Talk to you on the roundtable.
Baseball is